Hi, this is Cheryl Long. I'm the editor-in-chief at Mother Earth News Magazine, and I'm here with my chickens today, and I want to talk to you about how you can use chickens in your garden, both to help keep pest levels down and to add fertility to your soil, and sometimes even to help you with tilling up your garden beds. Before we go in the garden, let me just introduce you. The three dark brown birds are well summer chickens. They lay super dark brown eggs. The three lighter colored birds are buff Orpingtons. They're very calm birds, very friendly. And then the white bird with the feathers on her feet is a Cochin. Okay, I'm going to see how many eggs I have here this morning, and then we'll head over to the garden. So here we are in the garden with the girls, and I want to outline for you, first of all, the reasons that I think it's worth considering keeping a few chickens. The first big reason is for their eggs, of course. Delicious eggs, super fresh, you know what they were fed, you know how they were cared for. Another reason is they're just really very entertaining. They're a lot of fun. They're kind of like pets. They'll follow you around. You can basically train them to come when you want to feed them. The third reason, and it's a big one these days with all the concern about Lyme disease, is that chickens and other kinds of poultry, guineas, turkeys, ducks even, eat a lot of insects. Insects are high in protein. If the birds are allowed to range, that's what they're doing right now. They're looking for bugs. And we have testimonials from readers all across the country year after year telling us that when they got chickens, their problems with ticks were reduced in major ways. In some cases, people tell us they don't even see ticks on their properties anymore. So it's really something to consider, even if that's your only reason for keeping the poultry, especially if you have children that are out in the yard a lot. So that's a big one. And then the last one is to keep chickens for the manure that they provide. Manure is a superb fertilizer, of course, and they also will do some duty helping to till some of your beds if you set it up correctly. So now I want to show you the kinds of pens that you can use in your garden to help you manage the chickens. So first of all, I want to show you this super lightweight wire pen. It's made kind of like a rabbit hutch, only really big, and we use J-clips to attach the wire sections together, and then we use a different kind of clip. It's called a hog ring, actually. It's made to go in the nose of little pigs to keep them from rooting too much, but it makes a nice hinge. So you can make your doors in a variety of ways. This is just a flap that opens up and down, and then you can secure it with a bungee cord. I've used a variety of things for housing inside these small pens. You can see the plastic tub here. I've used plastic dog houses. Chickens are surprisingly cold hardy. As long as they can get out of the wind, they can do just fine in most parts of the country without any heat or anything like that. So you have the flap type door here. You can have a different kind of door here where it's hinged from the top and you've got flaps around so it's secure. Again, you pin it down with a bungee cord. The one weakness about these lightweight, inexpensive pens that I learned the hard way is they aren't quite rigid enough to stand up to a large predator like a dog. What happened was some of my neighbors' dogs were running one night and they came by. They were able to get into the garden because I didn't have gates on it yet, and they smashed one of these pens and killed some birds. So needless to say, I thought, well, I need a better system. So let's go over here and I'll show you what I came up with. So this is what I came up with. It's welded angle iron steel, super sturdy. No dog is going to be able to do any damage to these birds. The one problem with it is it's hard for me to move it around the garden by myself. So I think if I were doing another one, I might try aluminum angle iron and bolting it together instead of welding. We do have a plan for this coop and for the other coop I talked about on our website at Mother Earth News. The little white birds are silkies. They're a Chinese breed. They're small. They're about half grown. They're noted for being especially prone to go broody And so they're really good birds to be able to hatch your own chicks. You can actually take fertile eggs from your other birds and put them under a broody silkie, and she'll hatch them for you. And then she'll raise them, and you won't have to do anything. So that's what I'm hoping to do next year. So back to the pens. Underneath, you'll notice there's a layer of straw. And what I've found is that one way to harvest the manure is to lay that down before you set the pen down. Again, if you're not planning to let the birds till. I've got the wire floors, so I'm using them more here to produce the manure and for the entertainment value, because they're just so cute. They make me laugh every time I see them. They look kind of like they've got their pajamas on all day. So anyway, I put the flakes of straw down and then leave the birds on it for a few months, and then when I'm ready to move the pen, I can pick up those flakes of straw, and I'm going to use them over to, in this case, to mulch my asparagus, which is a crop that likes lots of high fertility, and I'll just lay those flakes down and I'll get double duty. They'll mulch around the asparagus and they'll release nutrients from the manure. Feed for chickens is getting more and more expensive these days, but one of the things that you might want to consider when you buy feed, or if you decide if it's worth it to you, is that the value of their manure is significant. They're eating corn and other grains, they're absorbing and digesting some of it and producing eggs, but they're also not absorbing a pretty significant amount of that feed, and it has nitrogen in it and so forth. And so their manure is very rich, and it should be factored into your equation if you're trying to decide if this is something you want to do from a point of view of how much it'll cost. So you have the portable pen option, but another way to think about managing chickens in your garden is to use wire tunnels to guide them and keep them where you want. If you just let them roam, in the winter that's fine, but in the summer they love to dig and they love to scratch. They take dust baths as a way to help maintain the health of their feathers, but in the process of taking the dust baths, they can dig huge holes in your yard or your garden beds, and you probably don't want that mostly. So you kind of need to keep them where you want, where they can't do any damage. So let me take you now and show you how I'm going to set that up along the perimeter of this garden. Another way that you can manage your chickens, besides the portable pens that we just talked about, is to use wire tunnels to guide them and hold them where you want them. I don't generally let my birds free range all day because I'm gone and I don't really have a dog around or anything to scare off predators. So when I did let them free range, I would lose one now and then. So I tend to keep them in their pen. I bring greens to them every day, and I'm working on this new system to give them a protected range that's a sort of a moat around my garden. And I think they'll like it a lot. I think I'll be able to sow cover crops in there and then turn them into it. It'll keep them protected, it'll give them the greens, and what it'll give me is a way to control the weeds that get into the fence row. The birds land on the fence, they poop the seeds, I get mulberry seedlings and all kinds of stuff in there. And it's really hard for me to weed that because I have a chicken wire L-shaped section down there because the rabbits, it turns out, can go through 2x4 fencing panels, so I had to add the chicken wire to keep the rabbits out. And I brought it out this way so they couldn't dig under. So that means I can't hoe that, I can't really weed whack it or anything. So by building this new wire moat or tunnel around my garden, the chickens will be able to go in there and they'll eat everything green. And so they'll keep all the weeds down, and I'll be able to keep them out part of the time and sow fresh cover crops in there for them. So they'll win, they'll get a better pasture, a protected pasture. I'll get a cleaner fence row, and it should work out really well for everyone. This is turning out to be fairly easy to assemble. I just used the little hog ring clips that we showed you to attach it back there. I'll use some little wire pins right here to pin it to the ground to keep it secure. You can see back there it's bowing just a little bit. That's because my fence isn't really straight, and you need to have a straight line to get this to go up really nice. But I think it's going to work out really well. So I hope you found the tips I've offered you helpful today. I sure hope you'll give chickens a try. I think you won't be sorry. you'll get some terrific eggs and some very friendly helpers in your garden.